show up?
It varies.
Okay, so this should.
Excellent connection.
And we're waiting.
Ooh,
And
we're
we're
live.
live.
We.
Whoop, whoop, whoop.
We are live. It's a weird looking link.
I know.
I don't know why it doesn't have like a personalized, individualized name. I'm gonna switch over to your account.
Why?
So I can share.
Oh, gotcha.
It's most likely a notification that you're live.
One concurrent viewer.
Probably. It said one?
Yeah.
Oh, look, one person. Howdy. We're just waiting, getting everything ready. Give people time to roll in.
Thanks. It's almost like I know you or something.
Do you? 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 Okay.
Yeah. Nope, nobody's viewing now. We lost our one viewer.
Welcome and say hello when you show up. Come in. And stream health. Stream is healthy.
Cool.
Excellent. So we're gonna wait a few minutes because technically we weren't supposed to start until 6 o'clock. So
Yeah.
we're gonna wait until, give it a few minutes, let people come in.
And then we're gonna get going.
Sorry, I'm currently messaging people to tell them to come watch
Yeah.
and sharing on my own personal.
Single viewer so far. Hi, single
Facebook.
viewer. I swear we'll be getting going soon. Oh, they bounced out. It's fine.
Oh, well, it's been 4 playbacks now at this point.
Can they communicate with you?
Yeah,
they can comment here
They can say hi.
and say hi. Say
Can they write anything?
yeah, they can say whatever they want.
All right.
Yeah.
So we should ask them questions.
We will when we get to there.
Get them
Mhm.
reason to engage with us.
Well, hello, Lauren. Howdy.
Thanks for joining.
Yes, thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
So that there will be a slight delay, so too.
Well,
Uh-huh.
it is 6 o'clock now, so
Okay,
I guess we can
so-
get started.
Yes. So, welcome to a world of magic. Sorry, we can't afford those cues. So welcome. This week we're doing a live stream instead of a normal episode. The last adventure was quite epic, I think.
It was for us, at least.
And so,
How about you? You just hung out on the boat all day.
yeah, well, you know, it happens.
Day after day after day, just lounging in your happy place.
Anywho,
Lounging and lounging and lounging.
so
And I was seasick for the first time.
yes, we'll get to that.
Yeah, we will.
Um,
And lounge.
sir. So, did she seriously just bounce out, sister?
Keep talking, Jake.
So we wanted to do this live stream and talk about more about how it came to be, some of the stuff that didn't make the cut of the 3 episodes.
Specifically, how we got onto Aladdin and, our relationship and what brought us there.
Yeah. So we want to talk about that. Like I said, how the journey came about, things you didn't see, as well as kind of things that were like what they learned, how they grew, kind of what's the, who's the new Nick and Hayden after this journey.
By the way, joining us today is Hayden.
Hello.
So everyone say hello to Hayden, who at this point I think you have all seen
A lot.
quite a few times.
Thank him for the awesome dolphin sequence in part 2 of our Norfolk arc.
Yes.
That's what we're calling it, the Norfolk arc.
The Norfolk arc.
Yeah. Sometimes it's the Newport arc too, but you know.
We're gonna work on that one too.
Yeah, well.
So,
All right.
let's start with how all of this came about. Because as you know, Ixion is still currently on the hard. Work is being done, which you will see in future episodes.
Yep. It's been painful.
We'll get to that later. So, as you saw at the end of the third episode was Captain Tom. Tom actually found us via social media and as a fan of our channel. And we had actually been talking to him kind of off and on last year, and then kind of the conversation became a bit more. Well, it just became more when we ran aground back in January. He offered advice, assistance, guidance, and he was one of several people who were extremely helpful through that entire process, dealing with the insurance, as well as what to do, how to go about everything, because this is something that obviously we had never experienced ever. Why would we?
And basically, once the dust settled, and we kept communicating, talking about how to fix Ixion and all that. But once the dust settled, and he found himself heading up north for the summer, and to avoid hurricane season down south, he invited Jake and I to join him on the rest of his voyage back north. Now, at the time, you weren't quite ready to.
No, and I'll talk about that
board.
individually.
We're talking about
Yeah,
that
I know.
now.
And so, but I want to get into it personally myself.
Yeah, I'm giving you that door, Jake.
I know.
Then
So I was
baton. Take the baton.
I was not ready to get back on the water. I'll admit I was scared. I was anxious. I was nervous. I had the yips, I guess. After we ran aground, I think both of our confidence was shaken. I don't know how Hayden was feeling.
Hayden, how were you feeling?
At what point?
After we ran aground.
After we ran aground.
Oh, well, I think I was okay.
You're okay?
I was, I had my own boat. What was going on? And honestly, even after all that, I still wanted to keep going. I don't think I was ever really deterred by that experience. If anything, it just made me more cautious and more aware of just kind of all sorts of things. I mean, really all kinds of things you wouldn't even imagine just from that bad experience, but you take the good from it.
Well, I wouldn't say that I was deterred by the experience either. However, my confidence in my ability was definitely shaken a little bit, and
Mine was shaken.
Yeah.
Very highly. I don't know if I'd say I was like traumatized by it, but it was definitely like I was not ready to be out in the open ocean on a trip that was like 5 states.
I'll admit I was shaken. However, when Tom reached out giving us this opportunity, I felt like what better way to regain confidence than to sail with somebody who's been doing it for over 30 years. And to me, that was such a valuable opportunity that I couldn't pass up.
I mean, I agree. Like and that's why I kind of pushed you to go and do it, because I'm like, this is the best way to learn. It's kind of where we're at right now, is really like learn everything that we possibly can learn, absorb as much knowledge. But I wasn't ready, and I'll even give you a little spoilers. We do go on another trip that you will see in future episodes. And I talk a little bit about it, but I was nervous. I was anxious to even...
Ooh, he took his sunglasses off.
I did, well, I felt weird saying sunglasses on. They're prescription. I can't really see without them, but now I have a face.
But I was actually really nervous and anxious. I think to a certain degree I still am, because I need more time to be out there and really kind of remember the joy of being out there sailing, because this trip we just went to one place and back several days later. So that is why I did not go, and Hayden took my place on this journey, and thankfully Tom let him.
Yeah, I reached out to Hayden pretty quickly, and I said, knowing that, you know, we're trying to travel together, but like more as a buddy boat system, I figured, well, I could use the experience, so could he, so let's do it together. And so that's kind of what happened.
Experience is good.
Yeah, and that all kind of came about in a matter of like a week or two.
Yeah, it happened really fast.
Yeah.
Almost, we weren't even sure if Hayden was going to actually
Be able to go.
I think I knew about it like 5 days beforehand.
Yeah. So,
Which happened, didn't happen. I don't know if it was mentioned in the episode, but it actually was like right around Nick's birthday.
yes.
It was like his birthday
Yeah.
present. Like, it's almost like I think they left.
We
like,
left the day after.
The day after his birthday. So this was like a little birthday present to
Yeah.
Nick.
It was pretty cool.
My birthday present was running aground.
Well, so, yeah, we, about a week after, we hopped into the car and drove down to Norfolk. And that was quite the car ride. We have a 11-hour time lapse that we're going to be releasing for our patrons sometime very soon. Right?
It's long.
Yeah.
So become a patron and you'll get to see our full car ride.
It was a really cool time lapse. You see, it's just cool. You'll have to see it to.
It's right at the start of spring, so it starts out one
Yeah.
season and ends another.
Yeah, it's like New England hadn't even started budding, but like Norfolk was just full bloom. So cool time lapse, and a lot of great imagery from going over the Chesapeake.
That was like
Channel.
I cannot even talk about how like surreal it was to freaking cross the Chesapeake. I mean, like that's an it's an engineering genius.
Yeah.
And I know it's not like the biggest in the world. There are bigger bridges that cross longer bodies of water.
It was so cool to see.
But it's really quite. I wish the video captured it, but it did not do it justice.
Well, and you kind of missed out on us going through it.
It's my dad.
Do you want to take that?
Yeah, maybe just in case.
All right. And you didn't get to see the you didn't get to see the tunnel. You didn't get to see like sailing through it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the next day, which was, you know, in and of itself really cool.
Yeah.
It was like full loop. But yeah, it was such a surreal experience. We mentioned it briefly in the videos, but as soon as we got out, we were attacked by a literal swarm of flies.
This is when he's talking about when they're leaving.
Yeah.
No, we're not still crossing the bridge. We were attacked by a swarm.
Yes. Once we got underway.
Yes, so let's talk about that, because
Okay.
that's actually the seasickness. So you've never been seasick ever in your entire life.
No, never had an
Till
inkling.
now.
Yeah.
So why don't we
Okay. So
retell the tale?
So we had gotten underway, and it was a nice hot day. Tom's boat has a full enclosure on it, so we were really nice and warm and toasty. Well, around, I would say a little bit after midday, we started getting attacked by a swarm of flies. We killed at least 500, so however many were still on the boat was insane.
Well, I know that days later, even when I showed up a week later,
They were still
they were
parking.
still finding flies
Yeah.
all over like the deck and in various weird places.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. So, in killing all these flies, Hayden and I actually went hunting down below. We closed all the hatches and like we were sailing downwind and the boat was rocking back and forth nice and gently. But we were killing flies in the cabins, and basically, like, it got hot, got real hot. We started cooking while we were still killing flies, and yeah, suddenly I was just like, I need to sit down. And then dinner was served, and I was like, all right, maybe once I eat, I'll be better. But the second, like, I saw food, I was like, nope, can't eat. Hung out in the cockpit for as long as I could, and tried sleeping. Just felt like death had rolled over.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't until, like, my shift at 2 a.m. where things took a turn, and I was just, like, laid out for the next 12 hours or so. And it wasn't until the next morning when we started seeing dolphins that I started actually feeling better.
It was the dolphins.
Maybe it was the dolphins. Who knows? But
Dolphins solve all
it
life's
was awful, but also great. I mean, Tom likes to say there are people who have been seasick and people who have yet to become seasick. So it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
I also wish I could describe to you how much dolphin footage we have.
Oh my god, so
like,
much.
we could make an entire episode of nothing but dolphin footage. Like, Hayden got so much. I think you closed the flag on the door. You did.
Did why not?
You closed the flag on the door.
Whatever.
I thought it was.
It came off the pin at the top.
I thought it was the door.
Anyway.
Sorry, guys. We're having some
Technical
background difficulties.
Nothing to worry
We have
about.
enough footage that we can make an entire episode of Nothing But Dolphins. If the patrons, if you become a patron and request it, we'll give you all that footage.
Well,
Or we'll-
Dolphins for days.
We personally thought it might have been a little too much to do a full episode of Dolphins. I mean, I enjoyed editing that sequence so much. I enjoyed seeing it. So
I mean, it may have ended up being a little too long for the episode, but
I don't care. I loved cutting that together, and I wanted it to be as long as I felt like it needed to be, because I wanted to share, like, how much wonder that was to finally, you know,
as the
take that off my-
the cameraman for that moment,
The
why
dolphins.
don't you? How was that? Like, what was that experience? How did it feel? Like, what was that?
So they actually showed up twice, and I was sleeping the first time, and I hear a knock on the cabin. It was Tom. It was his watch. He says, "There's dolphins out here," and or something to that nature, you know, like.
very matter of fact.
He figured I would want to see them, so and it's true. I hit my head on the bunk trying to get ready, like I was rushing, and I got out there, and I didn't have the camera at first, and well, I cried basically. That's if that sums up how I felt about it. And then I grabbed the camera, and I got a little bit. But then when they came back, Nick was there, and there was many more of them, and they were jumping out, and we got a lot more footage.
I'll admit I cried too when I saw it. Like I said, I was feeling like death run over me 3 times over and then backed up for good measure. But I cried a little bit being like, oh, this is all worth it. I distinctly remember saying those words as I was watching them jump through the water. Like, the seasickness, all of that was so worth it for that moment.
We should make a shirt of you like, this is all worth it.
Riding a dolphin.
Riding a dolphin?
Yes.
Can I have a trident too?
Yes.
I am Poseidon! Oh, my voice cracked. Puberty 3.0.
So I think for me that was the biggest thing that I was like, oh man, that's the. You watch all these YouTube videos and everything sailing, and it's like that's the one thing that you kind of like look forward to, because you sail a million times and it's. I feel like this is probably one of those moments. It's like that majestic moment. That's like, God, nature is beautiful.
Yeah.
You know, and
the way that they like got so close to the cameras,
Oh,
That
yeah,
was
they were like, I almost could touch them.
Yeah, it was so cool. Did anybody else catch the albino dolphin that was in that mix? I'm waiting as if I can hear everybody say.
It's gonna be a minute. It was like a 20-second delay.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be able to read any of that chat.
But take a look at that video again. There's definitely an albino dolphin in that mix, and I swear some of them, like the second you dip that camera into the water, they were like, "Nope, bye." But at the same time, they moved through the water as if they knew what song we were gonna play. It was just so cool.
That's funny.
It's just hard to capture them because of how much they move around.
Yeah.
Like when there's a lot of them, it looks like, I mean, they're playing with the front of the boat. I don't know exactly what they are doing, but they're like spinning around. And, I mean, you saw them.
Yeah.
Oh, and they were definitely like looking at
But
you.
they were all around me. They weren't like, I don't know. I don't think they were afraid of the camera.
No.
I think they just were like, you know, they knew I was there.
Yeah.
Because they would come up sideways and look at me. Like
Yeah.
they'd look right at you through the water. I wish I could. I wanted to dunk my head down there, but I was like, no, I don't want to fall out of the boat.
Now, remember Tom's
I would have
rule.
needed you to hold
Stay
on to my.
in the boat.
Well, you gotta hold on to my ankles, right, and just dip me in.
I don't think I had the strength to do that. I hadn't eaten in 3 days. Well, I mean, a day.
Do you count negative days for all of the?
I guess
All the
everything
throwing
you
up?
got rid of.
Yeah.
That's gross.
The negative days.
Let's not get into that one.
But yeah, so that was a really, really cool moment, and that kind of lasted all day. For like the energy of that moment kind of lasted all day.
Oh, I carried me through the whole trip.
Yeah, I mean after that, I ended up doing my night watch.
Told everybody.
You know, no problem.
I was
Actually, now that's something that we didn't get to catch on camera.
What?
Was as we approached New York, there was like a ton of fog that had rolled in, and you know it was my watch, so I was going down to the AIS, also looking at radar and literally like weaving between contacts throughout the night as we got closer because there's so much traffic going in and out of New York. That was actually really, really fun and really cool.
I woke up to that.
Yeah. And then
It was very surreal because I was supposed to go and watch, so I went, got up, and Nick's sitting just looking at the radar. The only light on is the radar light from the screen, and all I see is his face, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I'm driving the boat."
yeah.
I was like, "Oh, that's so cool." And when I went up above, can't see anything.
No. Visibility was so low that I'm so glad we had radar and AIS.
It really makes me want it for my boat.
So,
after using it that one time.
Oh yeah.
that for anyone who doesn't know, AIS is a system that allows you to see the location of other boats and for other boats to see the location of you. Because I know there's some people on here who are not sailors.
Yeah.
So that's what AIS does. It's actually something that's attached to your actual to your radio.
It's required for all commercial vessels.
Yes.
It's becoming more commonplace with pleasure craft, and not all boats have a transmitter. Some of them just have a receiver. Some don't have them at all.
Yeah.
But if you're making big passages, I feel like it's a pretty good piece of
Especially if you're crossing
gear
the
to have.
ocean.
Yeah.
So you can see where the other people are at
So,
on the
like,
ocean.
Equipment will give like collision warnings.
Yeah.
To ships.
Yeah.
I mean, it's better safe than
Yeah.
sorry, and I know it came with my radio, and it wasn't like even that expensive. Of
Yeah.
a radio.
No, they're pretty good now. They used to be really expensive.
So yeah, it's definitely something that we want in the future.
So let's talk about New York.
Yeah. Well, we
so-
anchored in Sandy Hook first.
Did you talk about the flies?
Yes.
We talked about the flies, and that was the leading cause of my seasickness.
That was 6 hours straight of fly killing for me.
Yeah.
And it was, I'd say, 10 to 40 flies per minute during that entire time, mostly on the
Oh,
high end.
wow.
The transom
That's how
was
bad it was.
black,
That's great.
and we I think that they got blown in from Virginia Beach as we were leaving the Chesapeake. I mean, that's where the wind was coming from, so it stands to reason.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that was pretty gross. But yeah, we anchored in Sandy Hook for like 3 hours of sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And with fresh eyes, that's when we started going into New York, which we have a full-time lapse of that as well. You didn't see all of it in the video because it was, again, pretty long. But
we're actually gonna, when we have free time, which will eventually happen, we actually are gonna start releasing these things to our patrons. So, yet again,
yeah,
not a patron, you can become a patron, see a lot of the stuff that we don't show in episodes. Like our Lost episode.
yeah.
So the original first episode that never aired.
It's a patron
Also,
only.
if you don't already, subscribe. Hit the subscribe button.
Good plug.
Now let's talk about New York City. First of all, let's talk about our little YouTube short here, Mr. I Thought It Would Be Bigger.
Oh,
Statue of Liberty.
So,
I mean, I heard that it looked smaller in person, and they were right. And that was just me realizing just how right they were.
I can tell you, if you go to Liberty Island and you like look up at it, it doesn't feel small anymore. Like, I was watching one of our videos again, and you know, you can see the scissor lift and like people walking by, and it's like people this big, Statue of Liberty this big. So,
But it's mostly pedestal.
yes.
And so when
It
you
is a lot of
normally
pedestal.
envision it, you don't really necessarily include
Think of the pedestal.
but you think of it that big still. So it's like littler statue lifted up really high. And so that was the effect I was feeling.
And I recently learned, because we had a debate about this on board on the day, were we in New York at that point? And the answer is both yes and no. So apparently Liberty Island is New York City, but the water surrounding it is New Jersey.
Really?
Yeah, really.
logic.
So that was a fun little fact that somebody commented on I Thought It Would Be Bigger.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
Technically, you're in New Jersey. I think
Yeah.
Tom even said something too.
Yeah.
Tom knows all the facts.
Yeah, Tom does know all the facts.
So
man.
let's talk about like sailing past that moment. I know in the episode you talk about kind of mirroring the experience of like an immigrant coming in through Ellis Island, and kind of seeing that, you know, as you come into the city. But like, what's it actually like? And you said you thought it was smaller, but I feel like there's still probably like a Purple Mountain's Majesty kind of moment from kind of sailing past it into the city.
Well, for me, it was kind of surreal. It was a really foggy morning, and as we were coming into New York Harbor, the fog just like slowly started to lift, and you just saw the city like rising out of this etherealness.
In a grand city it is.
And so like I couldn't help but think, like, for somebody who's never seen like this vertical city before, coming in through weeks at sea and then like finally seeing this gleaming city, it must have been like this hopeful, amazing moment. And I really couldn't get that out of my head, which is probably why Hamilton was playing in it. Well, actually, Hamilton was playing in it because that's what kept me awake during my watches at night.
22,000 ships in New York Harbor.
So yeah, it was a really, really cool experience, and one that I wish to repeat again and again and again.
I mean, would you mirror the same kind of sentiment?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it was very much like that. I mean, Statue of Liberty may have looked a little small, but I mean, that was also probably because the city was so big.
Yeah.
The whole thing, I mean, just even the bridges and, like, you know, it's not just instantly but New York. You kind of have to, I mean, you probably know the geometry of it, but it was my first time there. So, like, I didn't know how long the channel would be. I thought, you know, is it close to the open ocean? Well, it's not.
No.
And then you got just everything, and there's barges parked everywhere, and
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of traffic going on, obviously.
So 10
But
out
you
of
can
10
really feel
would
it.
recommend.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really, really cool to go by boat. Especially
Yeah.
if you've never been there. Find a way to do it that way.
Yeah, because
Definitely.
Hayden's had never been to it. I don't know if it was. I know we recorded it. I don't know if it ever showed up in the episode because there was other conversations that occurred around this moment that were not
We record a lot too.
viewer appropriate. He'd never been to New York. This is his first time in New York City. Like, obviously, as a lot of people from Massachusetts, he's driven kind of a highway.
Been down the
around it,
highway
through it,
and
kind
at a
of,
Greyhound bus station.
but never actually
That's
visited
it.
the city. So this was his first trip, and it happened to be by sailboat.
I'd been to New York several times, but like this was arriving by sailboat definitely took the cake. And I would say sailboat's number 1, train is number 2.
I'll do it
Also,
eventually.
I had no idea we were making a stop in New York
Oh yeah, that
until
was a
I boarded the boat.
surprise.
Seriously.
Yeah.
And I didn't know we were going to stay for 3 days,
Yeah, we did end up staying for 3 days.
which was totally worth it.
Yeah.
So weirdly enough, I think the thing.
What was the marina name? One Brooklyn?
It was next to all the parks in Brooklyn, the piers.
So for me, I think the thing that I kind of was
Google.
most disappointed that I didn't get to go see was Stonewall.
Mm.
The Stonewall Inn. Obviously, if you saw the episode, I gave a brief, 1-minute history of the Stonewall Inn and the Stonewall riots. I'm not sure how much you know about it.
Yes, Jake is our resident expert in all things.
I mean, I had to do some Googling too to get names right and dates right.
115 Brooklyn Sail Marina. That's what it was.
So that's the name of the marina, guys, if you want
Yeah.
to check it out.
Great view. I mean, the marina's new too, but
5 out of 5 would recommend.
yeah, it was phenomenal.
So, the thing for me, I'll go into a little bit about Stonewall, because obviously our experience is just, it isn't just sailing and traveling and the boat work, it's also being gay and how we walk through the world and
And the relationship we have with
the
that
relationship
and being
we have with the
traveling,
world.
yeah.
Because as travelers, we can only go to certain places in the world due to the lack of safety. Uganda recently actually made death penalty for gay acts. So it kind of very much, the way we travel through the world is dependent on our own safety, and it's very applicable. But Stonewall is kind of known as the birthplace to the modern queer rights movement. Obviously, people have been fighting it all over the world for a long time, but this is known as the moment kind of when people said enough was enough. In New York City, there were bars and kind of safe havens where all of the, everyone on the kind of the queer spectrum, gay, lesbian, black, trans, people would go, and it was the one place they could be free and they could be themselves, whether it be people that were, maybe it was a kind of a fetish or a kink thing, like the leather people, the leather daddies, and the drag queens and the trans people. It was the one place where they could go and be themselves. Side note, a lot of these places were actually owned and run by the mafia.
yeah.
But they were constantly raided by the New York police, and eventually
Enough was enough.
enough was enough.
And
And
that's
there was
where this movement started.
And that's where it happened. And
Yeah.
there was riots that lasted for days.
They also make a really good Manhattan. That's what I drank. while I was
Ironically, it's in Manhattan. I would hope places in Manhattan can make a good
there. I
Manhattan.
would hope so, but it was a really nice little bar to visit and have a few drinks at. What else did we do in New York at the time? It rained one day, so we didn't really do much.
Yeah, we were
On one
kind of
day.
reluctant to go into the city.
Went to a ping pong bar.
Oh yeah, we did go and play ping pong.
That was after the Big A ice cream?
Yep. Yeah, we went to a place called Big A Ice Cream.
I need to go to New York because apparently they have gay ice cream.
And it was delicious. It was like,
Good.
I got something that was kind of like spicy and vanilla-y and
Oh, yeah.
nutty and
Yeah, it was spicy chocolate.
Oh yeah, it was a
Interesting.
spicy chocolate.
That
That's
was
what it was.
delicious.
It was
That's
really, really
weird.
good.
It was
Big gay
weird
ice
good,
cream.
Though. It was weird good.
Big gay ice cream in New York City. 5 out of 5 would recommend, apparently. We're turning into a reviews show. Welcome to Sailing Ixion, the new review show. Where we review all things that we do on our journeys.
I was like,
And then I introduced some people to Korean barbecue,
yes,
and that was a bit of nostalgia for me.
I was at home eating Subway.
it was all you can eat.
It was all you can eat, and let me tell you, I ate. I mean, I had been sick for several days, so.
We ate so much that they're like, oh no, and we're like, it's all you can eat. And they're like, well, but we were full anyways. It was good timing.
I don't remember any of that happening. Hayden, what are you talking about?
There was a time limit.
Yes, there was a time
and
limit.
we got full right at the time limit.
Yeah.
Or at least I did. I think I was the last one eating.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
It's very good food.
So, what would you say was the highlight of your New York City journey? Was it the Walk of Shame / Walk of Game? That opened our 3rd episode?
yeah.
There's no context to that at all.
So Hayden met some people while in New York.
I met one person. I tried to meet a friend, and he was like, oh, I'm busy. And so I was like, oh, well, I'll see if anybody wants to go for a walk. So
Hayden had a
took the
date
yeah.
before we left. He's being really shy about it, but he had a date before we left.
Yeah.
It was a dog walk and tea.
Have no shame.
No, it was fine.
And yeah, that opened our episode. Walk
It
of
ended
Shame.
right as I walked on the boat and we untied
Yeah,
the dock lines and left. That's how
yeah.
that was timed.
Oh, and so key thing that we learned about being on Tom's boat was that you can't manhandle it like you can our tiny little 30-footers.
Nope.
It's got so much momentum when it's moving. It's like, no way to stop it unless.
Its keel weighs your boat weighs the same as that boat's keel.
Yes. Yeah.
Like almost within. I think it's within
Like
100
within
pounds.
the pound. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez, that's insane. But let's we'll talk more about the boat.
Okay.
But let's New York
New
City.
York.
What was your highlight? What was the creme de la creme? What was the 6 out of 6 would recommend?
6 out of 6.
That's
Numbers
tough
keep changing.
because it was. I mean,
It was really a conglomeration of different things that like made it so awesome. I
it was
mean,
all unintentional. Everything just kind of fell together.
yeah. First
the
of
whole
all, the
experience-
view.
The view just made it like
Oh my god.
I wasn't even in my conscious state. Like
Yeah.
here I am. The first night I had to keep looking over my shoulder because we were
to make sure it was
we were
real.
socializing with people Tom knew
Yeah.
and in the cockpit, and yeah, I kept like every 30 minutes I'd have to look over my shoulder and just look at it for a couple seconds just to make sure it was really there.
Speaking of that, go to our
I'm
Instagram.
serious.
Our Instagram at Sailing Ixion. There's actually a lot of the photos that we took of the skyline and the sunsets.
Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful, gorgeous photos that Mr. Nick here took that are absolutely stunning, and we will eventually make a book with all of them.
Yeah.
I'll actually put it here at Sailing Ixion on Instagram. Go definitely for sure see the pictures. They're absolutely chef's kiss.
Yeah. I plan on making a book with all of my
7 out of 6 would recommend.
Are you saying it's so good that like you don't have to even look at it?
It defies expectations.
Okay. Cool.
And I know I'm the one who runs the social media.
Jake's not biased at all.
No, I'm not marrying the guy or anything.
Yeah. So yeah, there was an ineffable quality, but I think for me, that view every day was.
So do you want to live in New York Harbor?
I wouldn't be opposed to it. I mean, there's a lot of traffic, so it's kind of
Nice.
a rolly. It's a bit rolly.
Mm,
Like you really get all the.
I don't want Rolly.
No, but you do get a lot of the ferry wake throughout the day. So it's yeah. There's a lot of movement, but the view was pretty spectacular and worth it.
Okay, so episode 3, Return to Newport, started with sailing up the East River into Long Island Sound.
Yep.
Was it Moody 46? So Long Island Sound. Actually, I think that's some of the best footage we actually have. Is the recording of
The entire.
the East River.
Yeah.
Long Island Sound.
I mean, I wish that we had taken the drone, because that would have been like extra epic.
That's my fault. I
Yeah.
was trying to keep
That could be a no-fly zone.
luggage.
It was probably a
Low?
no-fly zone. But either way, it would have been mighty epic if we could have flown it. But we didn't. But we tried to capture as much of the essence of what we were seeing.
Mhm.
Did we not take a video about video? I thought I set one up.
For going up the East River? I don't
Yeah.
think so.
I don't-
Of all
I
the
haven't
buildings
seen
on
one.
the port side.
No, I didn't.
I
I
haven't
didn't see
seen
any of
one.
the footage for that.
Did you?
Like a time lapse?
No, I was tired of time lapse, so I put video.
I'll have to double check, but
Check the
Hmm.
ones I emailed you. Maybe it could have been my camera.
Oh, could have been.
there was more footage I didn't know about.
It could have been. Yeah. Didn't I Dropbox them to you? Well, we'll figure that out.
Guys, if like
Oops.
a little side note as into
I'm pretty sure, unless maybe something happened.
into making these 3 episodes alone, I think I couldn't tell you how much space it was, but I had to dig through, I shit you not, like 3 to 4 hours worth of footage, if not more, to try to condense it into probably a total of, I guess, an hour. No, it's probably more than 3 hours actually, because it was like an obscene amount of footage. We could make an entire episode just from the dolphin stuff and the East River stuff, and all of the pretty time lapses and stuff going into New York City. That could be its own episode too. We should just release all these like full time lapses on Patreon.
That's what I've been telling you.
I know. I'm just saying it's the thing.
Can
that
you believe
we
this
should
guy?
Do. So don't forget to like this live stream while you're on here.
So yeah, we shot a lot of the East River, with cameras, not with other things. We're not pirates. Well, Hayden is.
Kinda.
Hayden the pirate.
Tried to really capture the essence. Hayden and I were running around deck, every 5 minutes,
Taking pictures.
taking pictures and video, and yeah, and having a great time.
There's definitely.
And I gotta say, like, they say that like going through Hell's Gate and the currents of the East River are gnarly, but I find that if you time things right, and of course Tom, knowing the waters as well as he does, of course timed it very well.
Mm-hmm.
It's drama free, so it was a really relaxing, leisurely cruise up the East River. And once we got into Long Island, into Long Island Sound, ooh, things got nice.
It was motoring though.
Until it wasn't. We got to sail.
There was some sailing.
Yeah, we finally got to sail after an obscene amount of motoring.
There just was no wind.
Yeah.
At first.
Or it was just like where we had to be.
Yeah.
So when we got into the East River, not East River, when we got into Long Island Sound, we started off the day, there was no wind, but eventually it did fill in and into the right direction for a few hours until it shifted again to the northeast, where we had to go, basically. And then I had a night filled with dodging more stuff. So that was fun, again.
Yeah, so how talk a little bit about that, because obviously you both had this, but this was your first kind of foray into I guess I would say a night shift, because of the fact that Hayden and Tom had to take your previous night shifts. So
Well, no, this was the second night shift that I had done.
you did the first one going into New York.
Yeah.
This one. So but like talk for anyone who's still on,
It was 12 to 4.
so anyone who's on here who you know what, people, I will start wearing bikinis. Thank you very much. That's what I wear anyways, is Speedos. But for anyone who doesn't know, when we're doing a night passage, or even just long passages in general, the crew will take turns being on watch. And if you've got a good crew, you'll always try to find times where you can get together for dinner and meals, and just so you're not feeling constantly alone. Because, pun intended, sometimes it can feel like ships passing in the night. If you are all on separate things, so you see each other for literally seconds as you go. One goes up and one goes down.
Actually, since you bring it up, that was actually one of Tom's big rules. Is that every evening, unless somebody was sick, we'd eat dinner together, and we'd usually rotate the cooking, cleaning, etc. And that was a great way to always keep morale up. One hot meal a day makes the world of difference, and I didn't realize that until I experienced it. But like, when it's cold and gets a little miserable, having that hot meal really does pull you up. So
It's funny, I learned that from you on movie sets.
yeah, I know you'd think I would have carried that over into
Catering's the
For
most
me,
important
yeah.
thing.
I struggle when I get my nerves and anxiety get the best of me, or if I'm not feeling the greatest. I have a really hard time eating, and something that I learned I need to start bringing with me are protein shakes.
yes.
That way, if I'm having a moment where I'm like, I can't eat, I'm not hungry, I have no appetite or anything. But the problem is, if you don't eat anything, then your body just becomes worn down, and you have nothing to kind of build you up or hold you or kind of give you any energy, and which I experience on in the future videos. Spoilers. And
Teasers.
if I would have had a protein shake, I would have at least had all the nutrients and the things that I need from the food.
But to go back and answer your question about Night Watch, it was honestly like a really fun, calm time to be, sailing. When I was doing Night Watch, we were motor sailing, and I found myself actually having time to learn the boat and trim and adjust things here and there to keep our speed up, and I just enjoyed it. I really did. It solidified for me why I want to be out on the water and travel by sailboat. It really did.
This is actually how the conversation, if you've been following us, I actually have a blog coming up talking more about catamarans, but so this is actually how the conversation came about catamarans, because after my little birthday excursion, I'm like, I don't know. But also, at the same time, I do like my creature comforts. If you follow me on Instagram, you see that I like to dress cute and be cute and have my things. But I also like comfort and space. So the kind of compromise between the two is a catamaran. I get my comfort and space and creature comforts, and he still gets to sail.
So we see that in our future, but
So we see catamaran in our future.
we don't know when.
So, how are you? Like, what is your thoughts about like night passages and kind of having that?
It's a little spookier, but I mean, it's kind of like being out of sight of land in a lot of ways.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Whether you are out of sight of land or not, that's what night feels like. You're just, nothing is close anymore.
So, to back up a few days, while I was sick, I popped up my head out at one point, and we were something like 60 or 70 miles offshore, and it was the first time that I had been so far from land on
60 miles.
yeah
That you couldn't see it.
yeah. So like I popped my head up and like there's no land in sight, and I'm like, all right, there's no land in sight, I guess this is just how it's gonna be.
I'm just gonna go back to sleep.
Well no, it was kind of like ripping the Band-Aid off. You have this anxiety about like land finally disappearing, but then when you see it, it's like it's no different. It's just like, in all honesty, like if you're 15 miles away or 60, it's still going to take you hours to get back to land if you have to go back to land. So like, you just kind of roll with it. And I realized at that point, like, hey, my fear was conquered. Yeah, so thanks for bringing that back up. What were we on?
Night watches.
Night watches. But what were our shifts? It was 4 on.
I was always
Right.
12 to 4, yeah.
Yeah. So we were doing 4-hour
Morning and
watches with 4 on, 12 off. 8 off. 4 on, 8 off.
night. 8 hours.
Yeah, 'cause
Math is good.
4,
Yeah. I'm great at math.
which would be 12. That's half
Yeah.
the day. But that's a good. I think that's a good schedule.
Yeah.
Because it really gives you most of the day to get to enjoy the
Yeah.
journey and not be on watch, but still being equal parts.
Mhm.
Gives you a chance to get full 8 hours of sleep too,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
which is really nice.
That way you're never truly exhausted during your trip.
Mhm.
And that's why I am a component like.
You would actually love it, Jake, because naps are required.
I love a good nap. But there's something I kind of struggle with about just the two of us is obviously like I said, if you read the comments, I want to avoid kind of the large jumps if humanly possible. Passages and do smaller jumps. One, because I just want to see the world. I'm like, why rush? But two, it's for this
Yes.
reason. I don't want it to be if it's just the two of us, then we're then splitting the day and never truly getting to kind of rest because we don't get the same luxury of doing like 8-hour breaks. This is the reason I also would like a catamaran.
No, but
It's so that we can have crew with us to when we're doing these long passages so that we never actually have to be exhausted. We can really enjoy
having
it.
done 4 hours, if you're comfortable, and I mean like warm enough, that's the key, warm enough. If you're comfortable, doing 4 hours or doing 6 hours isn't all that bad, and it's really just a matter of getting into the rhythm, and I truly believe that. So, you know, as we
And when you have autopilot,
and when you have autopilot, the game changes immensely.
By the way,
which Tom's about it.
Spoilers, that's coming in our...
spoiler, that's in our future too.
I
there
wasn't
are
gonna say
some
it.
things that we cannot talk about yet, but there are some things that we personally have just out of our own stuff have made some purchases, some upgrades that we will be installing to our fully electric boat.
Yeah.
And a new autopilot is one because I'm pretty sure ours got ruined. So when we ran aground, it was still in the thing, plugged in together, and I think it got ripped out when the guys went on board.
Yeah, it got knocked about.
So,
No fault on them, it just... Stuff happens.
We'll have to inspect it.
But, yeah, autopilot's being upgraded to something very modern, because what we had was built probably in the early 90s.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
super outdated, but we're gonna have like a super advanced.
Do you guys know when AutoHelm 2000 was released? That's what we used to have.
I could Google it, but
Yeah.
I don't wanna. So back to Newport.
It worked okay.
You dock the boat. Jake arrives, which means the show gets started.
Well, you'd been lounging on Ixion for...
I was editing episodes.
You were lounging. I've got the footage to prove it. How was lounging aboard our boat while on the Hard? What'd you think about? What'd you dream about?
It's funny because I did actually film that while they were gone. So they were saying mine is from 90 and it was an AutoHelm 3000, which I'm assuming is newer than the AutoHelm 2000, unless this is a weird company that goes backwards in their numbers. So we can assume that it's older than 90.
Yeah.
Thank you, Eileen.
Or was that Alan?
Alan? I apologize. Either way, if I'm right, I apologize. If I'm wrong, I apologize.
Are you apologizing for being right?
because I got it wrong one way or the
Yeah.
other.
I guess so.
So, also, first, Alan, thank you. I apologize for getting it wrong.
See, I was looking out.
First Ixion fan in the wild,
Oh, yeah.
which we talk about in the episode. But I want to know what was the emotional behind that. Because it's only happened to you and never me.
Oh my god, it was so weird.
Because it happened to him again yesterday.
Yeah, it did, actually.
And no one recognizes me.
It was so weird. So, I don't remember whose shift it was on, but somebody radioed and said, "Hey, I hear Ixion's crew is aboard Aladdin." And apparently you're part of our crew now.
I guess people think you're me.
Well, sometimes I'm part of the crew.
You are.
We look the same, guys.
I think we need, like, crew shirts at this point. Just the three of us.
Captain, Captain, first mate.
And, yeah, so somebody radioed saying, "Hey, I hear Ixion's crew is aboard Aladdin." And that was just like...
I was asleep for this.
That was really, really surreal. I'm like, how did they know? Oh, wait, social media.
I wish I still had it because they actually tagged us in a story on Instagram. That's how I found out about it, because there was a it came through. Someone tagged us. They had taken a picture, and then tagged us and posted it on their story, and it said like sailing Ixion.
That was really, really cool. So, and it happened to me yesterday too. Hayden was going up the mast for somebody, and I went to help, and yeah, serendipity.
So I wish I knew who it was.
It's okay. It happens, but yeah, out in the wild. Well, technically, it kind of happened on 4th of July too, kind of.
Kind of, yeah. We met one of our early subscribers.
One of our first.
Yeah. Yeah. So Hayden is actually here.
What's the question?
Because he is working on his boat. So he is currently digging away now. Do you want to describe what exactly you're doing specifically on the boat at the moment?
You know, the boat was washed up on shore already, I'm assuming. But it also did a little side bump into
if
fire
you have,
line and crushed the tow rail.
If you haven't seen it, it's our video Boat Wrecks on Christmas.
Yeah, it tumbled on some stuff before it got to shore. And my tow rail was one of the casualties of probably a 6-foot compromised crack along the top of the ridge there where the
hull deck joint.
Hull joint meets the deck. So yeah, I've been grinding away. Had to remove all the hardware, stanchions, and all that stuff. Grind away for a day, and now I need the fiberglass. But
Alan, we were actually talking about getting a bunch of branded stuff. So we are going to redesign the name on the transom, and then we are talking about getting the at Sailing Ixion logo on the back, on one of the either port or starboard side.
Well, we want to put it on the bow. We talked about putting it on the bow. We've talked about putting it on the sail bag that we're going to be upgrading at some point. Kind
of like Sailing the Vagabond had on theirs.
Yeah. And I've even contemplated putting it on the main. So the mainsail already has the C30 logo on it, and I figured, well, if we're already advertising the brand of the boat, let's just put our brand up there too.
What we should do, though...
And I want a spinnaker with our logo on it.
I want to get... Someone needs to sponsor a rainbow. Somebody who makes spinnakers need to sponsor us and give us a rainbow spinnaker, but something that's specifically designed to be the gay pride flag.
See, I don't like rainbow spinnakers, Jake.
I want specifically the gay pride flag.
I know, I like solid spinnakers more. I think they're prettier.
But I mean, like...
But I'm more of a solid colored kind of guy.
It would. The logo would definitely get us more UT people because they'd recognize, oh, hey, look, it's, we'll have to see how the Vagabond does it. It's on their sail bag. I want to see specifically how it looks on. I have to go back and look.
It looks good.
I think it literally is that, and then it says youtube.com/Vagabond.
Yeah, it has the YouTube logo on it as well.
Oh my god, $10,000? Yeah, somebody sponsor us. Woo! Sponsor us to get that. That's a lot.
Yeah, solid color spinnaker sounds great with our logo on it.
You know what? I'm there. Solid color spinnaker logo. I'm sold. Alan sold me on it.
Yeah. I'm not willing to spend 10 grand on that.
No. But we are gonna deck Ixion out. So we're currently working on the stuff that needs to be fixed now. We I'm going to tell you we're not going to make it back into the water this year. Obviously, it's freaking
August.
literally July 30th today. So we're not going to make it back in before it starts to get cold. So we're actually going to use that time to do all the projects that we did not do last year. And a lot of it's the beautification stuff.
So while it's warm, we're going to do all the exterior beauty stuff. Then when it gets cold, we'll do the interior beauty stuff.
Make it something that we truly want to live on.
Yeah, because the V-berth is tight, so we need to make the inside look tantalizing.
Yes.
And at this point, I'll just say it, I've accidentally ruined our cushions by being a little lazy. So we need to reupholster those. But we didn't like tan anyways. So maybe it was an accident?
I don't know. We could head to Miami, but we want to spend the time to finish it all up here, and then we have some kind of plans in flux for winter that do not allow for us to do that. So, but it'll make some. Unfortunately, we won't necessarily be sailing footage, but we will have like an episode or two that involve an interesting location that we're excited to go visit. But we will we're gonna get everything done so that literally next spring, boom, we're back in the water, right out the gate.
And the idea is we know the waters of Cape Cod in New England, and basically by the time we're done, it's going to be a fairly new boat to us. So we want to be able to get to know Ixion in waters that we are comfortable in. And Buzzards Bay is a great place to do that, because you can basically schedule the wind. Like it fills in every afternoon.
Yeah. So let's finish up the trip thing. What was your favorite moment from the trip, Kate?
My favorite moment.
It was the walk of game.
That's a hard one to answer, because it was really just a lot of good things, a lot of good unexpected aspects, down to like the people that we met.
Yeah.
That I didn't intend to meet anybody. I didn't even intend to leave the boat.
Met a lot of people through Tom.
I think I just have to say the whole 3 days of New York was the best part. But also the sailing there was also the best part. It's really not easy to answer that. For me,
the entire experience is one long awesomeness of awesome. And I guess for me the best part was, I gotta say it and be a little cheesy, but it was getting to know Tom and learning as much as I did have from him, and just getting to know him better and becoming like good friends now. That's been.
And Tom is like instantly warm. Like as soon as I met the guy, I was just like, wow. It's like I'd known him all along.
That's been the that was really the highlight. And that's where.
If you watch this far, Tom, it's just for you.
Yeah. And that's where I gotta say that, like, traveling is fun, but when you travel with the right people, it's an adventure.
So, well, I'm glad that you two both enjoyed it. I was sad that I missed parts of it. I know I was not ready, and I quite frankly, not to like pat my own back, but that was a mature thing for me to know.
Yeah.
Because it would have sucked to get out there and then been freaking the F out and not been able to handle it, and that's why my next journey, the journey that we go on and coming up and that you'll see in a handful of episodes, it's a smaller jump. It was more local, something that I felt like I could actually do and withstand. So
and you've mostly done before, so
and so it was something I was able to handle.
Yeah. Well, so we did our trip. You had your own trip back to Massachusetts solo. How was that?
Absolutely miserable. I drove nonstop all the way from Virginia to Connecticut without stopping. Actually, this is not true. I stopped in just outside of DC because I got routed through DC, and it was horrible. It was miserable. I would never recommend driving from Virginia to Cape Cod in one day ever again. It was like 12 hours. I left at, I think, like, 8 or 9 in the morning, and I didn't get back until 10 at night, I think.
Yeah.
So it was a little longer because of the traffic in DC, and then I ran into a little bit of traffic outside of New York City. So I would never recommend that again.
I told him to stop in New York, eat some good food, but
I didn't. I just want to get home and sleep in my bed.
Jake's decisive that way. When he has a plan, like, there's no deviating.
And also, if you don't want there to be any kind of stress or anxiety, don't lay a plan in front of me.
This is true.
Don't tell me there's something we need to do on a certain day, because I will, like, part the Red Sea to make it happen.
Makes sense.
Which happened on the way coming back from B-Town. So we'll talk about that later,
Yeah.
because it pertains to some other stuff.
And
They do have terrible traffic. It was miserable. Though I still think LA is the worst. Los Angeles still, to me, is the worst traffic I've ever dealt with in my entire life.
I would agree with that.
So I'm
I
not...
lived there for 10 years.
I will admit, my little short jump that I'm going to do, I'll talk about it now since I don't know if we'll do a live stream again after.
We will. We're going to do a live stream after.
We'll do another live stream, but I'll talk more about that then.
That'll be another story arc. So keep watching.
And then we'll tell you about the new story
Yeah.
arc that's following after that we're actually working on now.
Yeah.
Which
It's-
is fun.
Quite the arc.
So we're currently, next week's episode will be the beginning of fixing our bilge, and if you know anything about the Catalina 30s, you'll know why it needs to be fixed. We'll talk more about it, as well as starting on the bottom of the boat to fix that as well. So both of those things are happening in next week's episode.
Oh, and we'll be revealing what Hayden's new boat name's going to be.
Is that in the next episode?
I suppose it is.
Yeah.
I guess it's going to be in the next episode.
He sanded it. He took off the old name. We've got that footage. We just
still
haven't
have
used
that
it
footage.
yet.
We haven't used that footage. Maybe we should make it its own episode though. Have it a Hayden special.
Maybe it should be saved for when I put it back, like the new name on.
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay, I guess we're gonna have to wait until the new name comes on.
Yeah, we don't
You can
wanna...
wait, right?
It's a fun name.
It really
It's a
is.
good name. It's the only name, according to the Coast Guard database. It's the only one with this name.
It's unique.
This will be the first. Yeah.
I wonder if our
Well, Hayden the pirate.
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
Don't
That's
forget.
not why I picked it.
Don't forget to give this live stream a thumbs up.
yes.
But that's exciting.
If you can guess it,
You'll never guess it, I promise.
No.
No, but if you guess it, I will.
yeah, what will you give them?
If you comment below, and if I will leave this comment, I'll read
You're-
any comments for the next week. If you guess it, I will send you a free
T-shirt.
And I know
shirt
who,
of your choosing.
I know who I've already told.
Okay, so he knows who he's told. So only one person knows this outside of us and Tom.
Yep.
So Tom, you don't count.
Yeah.
You can't get the free shirt. We already owe you one anyways. But if you are seeing this, leave the comments, see if you can guess the shirt, guess it, and if you, within the next week, before our next episode, if somebody comments, I will give you a free shirt. So we'll see if
Yeah.
somebody guesses it.
We'll see.
I mean,
Let's
we
see.
could even open that up until we reveal the name.
No, let's do a week.
But I don't know
You
when
need
that's
a
gonna be,
You need a
so-
limitation.
Yeah,
on that.
I'd
All right,
say.
fine. It's a week.
I don't get to live at the boatyard.
Everybody's doing Harry Potter things these days. I promise you, it's not even remotely close to Harry Potter.
No.
What would be a clever Harry Potter name? I don't even know. I got
Leviosa.
nothing.
Leviosa.
Or Leviosa.
That's pretty funny. So, yes, next week we are starting on the bilge and the bottom. No, it's not Harry Potter related.
Yeah.
But it is funny and kind of punny.
It's
It's not-
funny.
I don't think it's punny.
It's not punny, but
No.
it kind of has
I think it's relevant.
It has a pun.
That's the biggest clue you're gonna get.
Well, it has a punniness about it, I guess.
If you say so.
I do. There is a Leviosa in the database twice. Well,
Wow.
there you go.
See, if I were going to use that, it would have to be. It's the name would have to
What
be.
about Leviosa?
It's Leviosa.
Leviosa. That's terrible. Never
not
mind.
even-
Oh, Jake. You just took something that was already bad and made it worse.
I'm gonna get canceled for this.
Leviosa, really?
I know, it makes no sense. So, and I'm gonna say it here before we finish. If anybody has any questions, we will answer them before we hop off.
Yeah.
We'll be as honest as humanly possible. If it's about stuff we can't talk about, then
Anyways, yeah.
then I don't know.
Leave your questions down below.
Yes, comment if you have any questions. So, what did you learn? What is something that you feel like you walked away that you didn't have before? And it can be anything. Like, it doesn't have to be some, like, tactile skill. Like, it could be something maybe you learned about yourself, or...
Confirmed I like the swells.
That's a huge thing. Though.
Sailing inside a land or sailing away from it, it's no different.
Okay.
Yeah. That
Fewer
would be one.
rocks out there.
Yeah, actually, there's less things to hit.
I
No
mean-
lee shores there.
That's pretty valid.
Campground.
Yeah. What
So-
else? Cutter rigs are pretty cool. We didn't really talk about that.
No. So let's talk a little bit about Tom's boat. Tom is a Moody 46.
Yeah.
Don't know what year it is. It is center.
2006?
It's a center cockpit. He has an
Yeah.
enclosure. It's a cutter rig. I'm not sure if everyone currently watching is a sailor, but a cutter rig has 2 head sails.
Yeah. One's in the fore triangle, and they have a higher aspect Yankee, and apparently they don't go upwind as well as a traditional Bermudan rig, but they're still pretty cool and a bit more versatile in my opinion.
What do you think about cutter rigs? I mean, I think you like them, don't you?
I do. It's more tackle to
Yeah.
replace and maintain.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure Tom could answer this a lot better because it was my first time
Right.
sailing a cutter rig. But having the options for a high sail, because when you don't have the what was the other one called again? The staysail. When the staysail's not out, you can see right under
Yeah.
the
Oh, yeah.
head sail, which with a typical
Genoa.
like mine, that's not really possible. You have
Yeah.
Locked.
to look around upwind.
I mean, the only time I've been on his boat, we only put out the head sail and the main. We didn't put out the staysail.
Yeah.
By the way, I will never say head sail, mainsail, staysail. I will always say sail because I cannot find any logical reason to pronounce it that way. Cutters are better in more situations.
Yeah. That is true,
More
Alan.
versatile.
I've heard that. I've heard that there's a lot more that you can do with them.
We got a question, so let's...
Staying with the electric motor you have, which motor and many kilowatts do you have?
So...
Can't really talk about it. We are staying with an electric motor.
Yes. We are staying with an electric, and the current motor in there is a 10 kilowatt from Thunderstruck.
We bought an entire kit from Thunderstruck.
Yeah. And what I will say, because this is a perfect moment to announce part of a thing, is because of all of our electric motor workiness, I decided to become ABYC certified as a marine electrical advisor. And basically, I'm doing design work for people who need their electrical systems redesigned, and I design new systems.
Mm-hmm.
I source the components and give you basically a full list of everything you need to install it.
Which I won't get into details, but chances are you probably follow this channel, I promise. But we are actually working with another channel. Not to say any names yet because they haven't said anything, but we are working with another channel where you will get to see Nick working in
Making my
full
magic.
force, making his magic as he helps them redesign their electrical system and install it.
Yeah.
So actually, right when he got back from this journey, he spent the next, I don't know, month or two studying for that before he took the test and got certified as an advisor. I'll even say this to promote him, you know, seriously reach out for consultation. Obviously, it's not free, but it's a job. But it is something he does.
This is, in no uncertain terms, this is part of how we plan on funding our
Yes,
adventures.
among a dozen other things.
Electricity is something that like I understand and know very well, and it just made a lot of sense to dive into that and pick that up as a way of working and traveling
And I'm learning it kind of by
proxy.
Yeah, by proxy, because I mean, some of the videos we're shooting currently and we're working on deals heavily with, you know, kind of like the electrical stuff. So I'm kind of learning it by proxy, and I had an aha moment that was.
Where did we find the Tesla batteries? I bought the Tesla batteries off of eBay from a company, I believe it was called Pacific Motors. They specialize in salvaging Teslas and basically certify the batteries, watt hours, and condition, and
And they work.
and you're able to buy them used. Yeah, they work great. They work great, but it's not for the faint of heart.
They're very dense batteries.
Yeah, they're very dense. They can be very dangerous if you don't know what you're doing with them.
We're not the only ones who. I think I saw somewhere that there was another boat who had Tesla batteries. I think we may have been the first, though. So, oh man, I just redid my electrics. I was able to get two 280 amp hour Life Before batteries together from Alibaba. They're the cheapest and most powerful out there that aren't Tesla.
Oh wow!
I've actually heard really good things about those batteries. If it's any consolation, we've heard really good things, and we've talked to people at electrical companies who also really like those batteries.
Yeah, the number one thing with lithium-ion batteries is that you need a really good BMS, and that's number one. If you don't have a good battery management system,
Oh, wow.
then they won't last as long as you want. But
What brand is your BMS, Alan? Well, actually, I'll actually talk a little bit about that because that was a huge thing for us. We have a BMS that we got through Thunderstruck.
and not to knock it, but it's not as intelligent as I would like it to be.
I wouldn't even say it's intelligent. Like
It's really built for hobbyists.
it's also a manual kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like it's not like there's no kind of built-in stuff. So in order to operate the BMS, which I was the one who did it, you physically have to plug it into a computer and pull up coding, and physically tell the code to balance the cells, to check the cells. Like it
doesn't really do active cell balancing.
It's not something that you can leave like plugged in, and like you leave it plugged in, but you can't. It somewhat balances things, but you still have to go in and tweak it and do everything to check to make sure everything's good. Like you can't just like we have a battery monitoring system from Victron, and I wish the BMS we have functioned similar to that. I mean, I know you were installing it. Didn't you have a BMS that you bought?
I mean, for my solar?
Just the batteries.
No.
No, I don't
It
have
just
it.
has
I didn't
a
know if
solar
you bought
charge
one.
controller.
So it's a daily or Dally, 100 amps each, so I have 200 amps available. I still have a diesel.
Not bad.
Okay. I haven't heard of that brand.
No, neither have I.
But yes, BMS I think is extremely important when it comes to the batteries, because batteries are already kind of a complex thing in and of itself, so you want something that can maintain them, because their temperature is very important as to how well they function. And
Not just temperature, but like how much the charge you put in, the charge that you pull out. It's super easy to hurt them, but with good BMS you can make them last 10 plus years and longer.
yeah, because
we're still learning.
You want
really.
batteries, because like the issue with like the Tesla and a lot of these more dense batteries is you get multiple cells, and so you want to ensure that everything balances as evenly as humanly possible. Otherwise, you could potentially fry cells, and
And with the Tesla battery specifically, because they're so dense, they're at higher risk of fire when things go wrong. So because our BMS isn't as smart as I'd like it, it is a point of anxiety, and it's something that that we're working on rectifying.
What we actually did, Alan, is we actually bought a little pad online that we stuck to the top of the battery box that automatically kicked on
To keep it all at 60 degrees.
at anything below 60 degrees to keep the batteries to temperature.
Yeah.
That's what we used when we weren't on the boat with the heater. Obviously, most of the times when we were in Pope Island, we had the heater on, but if we weren't, that's...
But also Tesla batteries are built with a thermal ribbon interwoven between all the cells. So theoretically, we could recharge that system and have a heating cooling system for the batteries as well.
So the biggest thing for your free electrical advice is to have a good BMS.
Yeah, that's the key.
I know a catamaran that installed the Tesla batteries on YouTube. Ooh, do you know what channel it was? I'm curious.
Yeah.
Because I had heard through the grapevine about another channel, but I didn't know who they were.
The other thing with the Tesla batteries is I'd feel more comfortable if they were IP67 certified. If you don't know what IP67 means, that basically means that they're rated to be submerged underwater for a certain amount of time.
It's a great name.
Yeah, I'm gonna check them out. Very cool. I asked Tesla sales guy in Santa Monica about batteries for my sailboat, and they were not available.
Yeah, Tesla doesn't really like to sell parts to individuals.
They caught wind that some people were selling the batteries out of their wrecked Teslas, and they were not a fan of that. But once it's sold, what can they do? You know what I mean? Like when you own the property, you can choose to do what you wish.
Yes, 1 meter submersion, IP67. So I would feel better if our batteries, the Tesla batteries, could be sealed in that fashion.
But I will say this: we are staying electric.
Mm-hmm.
We are going to continue with the solar we do have. We're going to kind of rejigger it. We are going to redo our solar arch. Unfortunately, you know, but c'est la vie, it happens. And we will be adding some other things to boost our charging capacity, as well as some stuff involving our batteries. Unfortunately, this is some of the stuff that we actually can't talk about.
Not yet.
Not yet. Soon.
But we're dying to tell everybody about it.
But soon, we will be able to talk about it. But
Syrup is going crazy.
We are staying electric.
Yeah.
I can tell you that. I would say, though, I think that at the very moment, while we may be staying electric, I think hybrid is kind of really where it's at right now in regards to this, because battery, you know, on a car like a Tesla, you have the ability to, like, literally they're loaded with batteries. Like, they're just, like, loaded in there, so you have, like, the capacity to have how much you can hold is an insane amount. But on boats, you're smaller unless you have a giant catamaran. So I think that hybrids are where it's at, and I know that some companies attach an electric motor to diesels, to a diesel motor, so that they automatically kick on. So you run the electric until you run out of enough, until you dip to a certain percentage of your batteries, and then the motor kicks on and recharging the batteries until you can run electric again.
It's actually something we're looking at with Hayden's boat, because he wants to be partially.
Spoiler. I would like to make my boat a hybrid.
Yeah.
We don't know how to go about it yet, because obviously we don't want to...
I'm sitting here thinking about
replace the entire engine.
Yeah, we're not trying to replace the entire engine if we can get it up to, you know...
I just want to put a pulley or chain around the existing shaft behind the diesel with a one-way bearing. Or even without a one-way bearing. I'll just loosen the belt when I'm not using it. Because I don't want it to be a situation where I switch it all the time.
Yeah.
It's going to be more of a... I'm going to use the electric until I need the diesel because I don't have enough power for the electric. So then I fire up the diesel. It charges the electric.
Oh, we actually have a 2200 on board.
But I don't mind. I don't mind doing the manual switch.
I think it's 2200.
Oh.
Missing a zero.
Yeah.
I don't mind doing a manual switch. I don't need it to engage automatically and do that
Yeah.
fanciness.
But it's still like it kind
It'd
of
be easy to fix,
it offsets the cost and the carbon.
and
You
I
know.
could build it myself. Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
But also the real
Yeah, 2200. Yeah.
future is batteries.
Mm-hmm.
Figuring out how to put more batteries in a boat, because if you want to live off grid, and a lot of people, I think there's an appeal to it, but they also want their creature comforts. So
There's 11 electric sailing YouTube channels. We're not.
wow.
Come on, guys. I thought we were going to be the next Uma. What's happening?
I didn't think that. Well, wishful thinking.
I was like, oh, Dan and Kika, I'm coming for your game. But I guess not anymore.
It's the future. Really.
We should start
No.
our own party, like Newport Boat Show. We should have an electric sailing meetup.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I don't know who any of these other channels are, so I don't know how we're going to do this. So
But you're talking
books
it
allowed, books allowed. You might
Yeah.
have to arrange that for us. Newport Boat Show. By the way, it's a little over a month away. We will be at the Newport Boat Show, assuming no shutdowns.
Thank you, Books Alive.
Thank you. I'm actually excited to see this list. I want to follow these people's journeys.
Yeah.
Because quite frankly, I will openly admit our electric sailboat is the thing that kind of draws in a lot of people. It's our most popular episodes, and it's one of our biggest draws to the channel.
Yeah.
I mean, I wish it was my beautiful face, but I'll take the electric sailboat.
Oh my
I'm trying to
God.
get a big David Arch thing for my Catalina 30, hopefully, to get more solar. If you watch one of our future videos, I can't tell you when because it hasn't happened yet, but what you are actually wanting is kind of the realm of what we're going to be trying to do.
Yeah.
So we are changing the arch. I know we spent all that time building that stupid, god-awful stainless steel monstrosity.
I mean, it looked good, but
It looked good, but we hated doing it.
yeah.
But we are going to replace it since we had to kneecap it.
Good way to put it. We had to kneecap it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the best way to do it.
Yeah.
And I dropped it on my head.
Yeah.
I don't know if I mentioned this at any point ever, but when we were, I don't think we said this. I'm not going to say what boatyard we were at, but they told us when they were going to
Unstep the mast.
unstep the mast, and they gave us an exact time, and we're like, cool, we'll be there, because we wanted to use the halyards to lift the arch up so we could physically take the arch off after we kneecapped it.
Yeah. Now we had to kneecap and take the arch down because it was too high to transport over roads specifically. So that's why we had to do that,
So
and that's why we have to
we
rebuild
showed
it.
up 9 o'clock in the morning, hours before they said they were going to unstep the mast,
It was
and
all
it
done.
was already done. So we physically had to raise the solar panels, just Nick and I,
Yep.
and the panels and the arch were still together. And the arch itself it's stainless steel. It's hollow. It's not heavy. Like, I could lift it by myself if there was nothing on it. But the moment you add the 100+ pounds of solar panels,
Plus it being back heavy.
yeah. So we cut it, raised it, dropped it on Jake's head.
Yeah. But his head's still okay.
It's here. We're okay.
Spoiler, he made it.
Yeah. But
Alive.
but long story short, I'm designing something new because with those solar panels and the stainless steel arch, Ixion's butt did like to sag a little bit.
And no one wants a saggy butt.
No.
Yeah, you can watch
Yes.
our video. It's something that we are
And that-
actually working on.
Feel free to
thank
message
you,
us.
Alan.
Happy to talk to others about
Yes.
my ideas and
We will eventually set up a spot on our website, sailingixion.com, where we're going to put out the designs
Yeah.
for all of our projects. We might include the old designs too, I'm not sure yet. But we are currently,
will.
I think we have a mock-up of our current, of the new Bimini Arch combo. Obviously, there's some finessing we need to do specifically to make it removable, should we ever need to transport the boat over land for some reason. The other one also, there was an error. I'm roughly 6 feet tall, and we made the height not accounting for that, like, 2 foot gap between...
Well, no, that... You're getting ahead of yourself. We made it that height because we've got a split backstay, but the split comes together at a specific height, so it had to be...
Well,
it had to sit above that turnbuckle to make it all work. Our new design, and I'll just tease it a little bit, I'm studying composites to come up with something newer, lighter, and stronger ultimately.
and removable.
And removable.
So once the design is done, and once the video is done and out, we will release the design. Like I said, feel free to email us. Obviously, you can find our email through through YouTube, or you can find us on social media, Facebook, sellingixion.com.
Yeah.
Reach out, like...
Happy to put my head with other people, because, I mean, Alan, if you're trying to do the same thing, 2 heads sometimes work better than 1.
I mean,
so.
I'll admit everything. All of our conversations right now are free except for electrical. Sorry, that one's a consulting fee. I was going to use solar panels for the...
And that's what we did.
Other materials. The solar panels we have, the additional ones that are on the back that were on the arch, are actually house panels. They're bifacial. Actually, they're not house
Oh, which
panels.
Cat 30 Facebook page, Alan?
I'm on the Cat 30 Facebook page.
We're on both of them. I just need to
I'm
know
sure
which
there's
one.
more.
There's 2 specific Catalina 30 owners groups on Facebook.
Well, if we're in both, that means that you've
One.
probably seen some of our build progress.
Yeah.
You're ahead of the game, Alan. If anybody has any other questions, feel free to comment. Before we go, we'll answer them. So that is what is currently in our future. It's one of our projects that's kind of will occur after we finish the mandatory things.
Yeah. First things first is getting the structural repairs.
He's on the 2. So
Oh, good.
You've probably seen it.
And then I'll look for you and reach out.
But yet again, some of the stuff involving that, we haven't started on some of the stuff because we're waiting for some other things that we can't talk about yet.
Yeah.
There's a lot. I promise it sounds like it's
I think
a
you've
lot.
teased enough, Jake.
It's all pertaining to the same stuff.
It is. It's all electrical.
But it's a lot
related.
of fun. It is a lot of fun.
So yeah, that's the adventure was great, and we're looking forward to going back out again, hopefully very soon. It has inspired me to look for other ways to get out on the water and sail, and
Sure, we could talk Phil into going. It's got a hunter right on the
oh yeah,
on the road.
probably true.
So hi, Phil, if you're watching.
Yes.
And yes, as like I said before, we will be at the Newport Boat
Show.
Newport Boat Show. Follow us on Facebook, and we're going to try to set up a meeting for everybody if we have enough people that are wanting to get together. If not, we'll just shoot our patrons a message. Actually, I don't think they're on this coast. Never mind.
And if not, we'll just enjoy the show ourselves.
Yeah. Obviously, we're going to try to make it to the Annapolis Boat Show as well in October. Lockdowns permitting, assuming they don't happen again. So we will try to make it to both. We will be there.
Anyways, I think that's it for today.
So last chances for your questions.
We'll be doing another live stream in a few weeks after our next sailing adventure gets released, and that should be very soon.
So I
don't
will.
know the exact dates.
I will say, due to how life played out, these next few videos are not going to happen in the exact order they actually occurred in.
Yeah.
So this next episode occurred over
Months.
but we wanted to get it out before we put the other
Yeah, we didn't want to.
sailing journey.
We didn't want the timeline to get super discontinuous. Haircuts change. And appearances change.
My haircut is the thing that tells you the most. If you watch any of our videos back to even through season 1, my haircut will give the game away.
Yeah.
Because after lockdown started, I was like, nope, off you go.
Well, I think that's
it.
That's it for
there
today.
anything else? Is there anything else that you want to say, Hayden? Any spoilers you want to give for your boat journey? Because we will be seeing it on the channel.
Spoilers for my boat journey. I know someone who's going to buy another boat soon. Someone in this room. There's my spoiler.
Yeah, you'll see that soon.
New boat coming
Another
soon.
tease. We're teasing a lot today.
Sailing Ixion buys another
Oh,
boat.
well, go ahead and spoil it. I was alluding that it could have been me. But I already have another boat, so...
Well,
Yeah.
the moment you said it, we were like, somebody in this room, we're like, we're buying a Hobie
I
cat.
could have been talking about me. Oh, wow, there it goes.
Way to go.
Out there.
Spoilers.
We'll document the journey. It'll be fine.
Yeah. Anyways.
We live close to a bay, so it'll be fun.
So now it's your spoiler, not mine, so I gotta
Yeah.
think of another one.
Sorry, I didn't mean to ruin it.
You're like the parent who gives the kid a gift, and as you're handing it, I got you a toy. I swear it's not a sweater.
It's a race car.
Like, take away all that joy of opening the gift and like.
I do. I have trouble holding out to give presents. Like, I always want to give them early because I'm excited to give them. We've never been on a Hobie cat, but we're excited for it. So
It's such a great deal. I can't pass it up. So
you will see it. We will document it. We will. I'm not gonna say it's an entire episode, but we'll make an episode about it. We don't know how to use one, so that'll be fun. We'll have a lot of social media content about it.
Yeah.
I'll be there.
Sure.
I refuse to
I
not
just
be there.
want a good dinghy. I hear you.
so do I.
We need a bigger dinghy. Highfield, sponsor us. I go for like the most expensive brand.
Right?
West Marine, sponsor us. How about
Sure.
that? There we go.
Yeah. I feel like that's a bit more attainable.
It is more attainable.
All right. I think we're rambling at this point.
Yes. So don't forget to subscribe if you don't already. Obviously, give this a thumbs up. YouTube and the algorithm loves interaction. They love thumbs up. They love a good share. We love a good share.
And we love comments because we like to interact with you guys.
Yes, and that's a big thing. Like, if you have any thoughts, just comment. Let us know. Join the journey with us. It's not just about us, but it's about sharing it with you guys and experiencing it with you guys.
And lastly,
Tell your friends about us. That's not lastly, but tell your friends about us.
if you really like what we're making and doing, consider supporting us on Patreon. It's a great way to help us get down the road and support independent artists.
Yes, it is. I will actually elaborate on that. It's a good way to support independent artists, so we don't have to rely on, I don't know, big corporate creative people to do stuff. We get to create our content for you specifically without ever having to compromise that. And obviously, the better we do on Patreon, the more time and effort we can put into this.
And we love making these videos. We really do.
We really do.
And we just want to keep making them better.
Yes. Also, if you go to sailingixion.com, you can read where I write blog stuff. It's mostly been boat stuff, but I might delve into some other things. You never know. I delve into art a little bit more. I don't support you guys, but I have a boat. I feel you.
I hear you.
So, yes. Follow us on social media. It's pretty much at Sailing Ixion everywhere. Facebook and Instagram. Tell your friends. I want to beat those other 11 channels.
And we'll see you next week.
Yes.
Bye.
Say bye, Hayden.
Bye.
Bye, guys. Wait, where's the thing to stop this?
I don't know.
We're just gonna sit here
This is
awkwardly
like
until I
an
get it.
awkward ending. Roll the credits.
So wait,
roll
there's
the
a stop
credits.
button. Okay.